Hello there, Will. Thank you for watching. Please drop a like or dislike depending on how you feel, a sub if you loved it, and a comment if it's more complicated than that. It all really helps. If you want to poke me between releases, you can hit me up on Twitter at @pwhatever, or chill in my Discord via the link in the description, or if you're looking for something a bit more casual, you can come talk to my very own Kempt Face live on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 2 p.m. EST. Though, if you want to support me and get something more tangible in return, there are links down below to my Teespring for merch, Bandcamp, and other online streaming services to grab the music, and my Patreon, where you can sign up for cool perks such as having your name rolled by like these marvelous life forms. Jeez. Apart from all that, thank you so much for stopping by and listening. I appreciate it more than I can say. And I will see you guys in the next one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another Winchester Wednesdays. We're back, baby. Wasn't sure if we were going to be back for a little while, but we are back now with our audio issues. It's been a while since I've streamed from something that wasn't like a completely insane whatever deal, i.e. one of the convention streams. So yeah, and brought to you by DerpyNet. Yes, because I was using my backup audio device system. I was just like, well, I'm not streaming right now. I don't need to bother hooking everything up correctly. Oh yeah. Oh well. So yes, we are back. We are doing a little bit of a new format. First of all, if you notice, we're doing a bit of a new time. We're starting an hour earlier. That's partly due to our East Coasterly friends and people who actually have shit to do. So they can get here a little bit earlier. And yes, also for other game plans, because yeah, I don't want us, if we want to do a 4-hour game stream, I don't want the stream to be going on till 2 in the morning. For a lot of people. So yeah. Also we're reconfiguring a little bit. I've worked out a little bit of a different deal with our voice actors. So we're planning on doing a different deal where every other week we're doing a reading, and in the in-between weeks, so next week we will be starting up Divinity Original Sin 2. So, yes, and following through that and trying to have some more story-based games and some other fun stuff I have kind of planned. So, yes. Yeah, without further ado, thank you to all of you wonderful people who are tuning in. Hopefully some of you for the first time. I know I reached out to a lot of places that I don't normally reach out to. And hopefully some of you are from there. So, yes. Let me, as is tradition, introduce all of you to the call. Hello, Cole. No, it's Wednesday, you stupid Australian. It should be fixed now.
So wait, you mean we said all that for nothing?
Yes.
Oh
Well,
no!
damn! I sang Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber for nothing.
So before we get off on those stupid crap.
Oh wait, we're getting off. Oh,
I'm not getting off on anything. What?
Oh
my!
there goes our PG rating.
And
we don't have a PG rating, dumbass.
So anyways, let me introduce you to our lovely cast. Most of these are familiar if you've known the show for a while. Some of these are new. So yes, starting off, we have my lovely co-host, Crazy Matt Captain.
I'm here to make sure everything's on fire because that's where everything is sane, right?
Up next, we have my lovely secretary, Razzle.
I'm here to make sure everything is set on fire. So that's fun.
We also have our lovely fanfic editor, Double R Forest.
I'm here to get famous.
And we have one of our lucky games helpers, Skyrays.
Hello.
And last but not least, we have one of our lovely voice actors, our wonderful Pinkie Pie, Lycan.
I have to admit, I'm a terrible Australian because I forgot how to throw a boomerang, but it's okay. It came back to me.
He's been doing this the entire fucking time. Please help.
He is also our master of puns. So
There is no helping. So today, Tempest Shadow is for Razzle or for Skyrays?
Razzle, because Skyrays is technically not involved with this stream except for sitting in and saying hi.
Sort of lurking ghost.
Before we get started with the reading, I won't be Skyrays. I'm Skyrays, by the way. I won't be actually part of the readings anymore unless it's an absolute emergency and they need someone. Otherwise, I'm going to be fully dedicated to the gaming portion of the stream.
So yes, we have all these lovely people here to sit in and do stuff. We also have Commander Something will also be helping out with stream things, but he is sitting out of the call at the moment. So yes. Also, every once in a while, I've tried to talk him into helping out with some reading things. So that'll be fun in the future. And I know he just loves it when I shout him out on stream. So yes,
Yeah, that's right.
We're doing it for your own good.
The Celestia's pancakes have gotten out.
So yes. But
speaking of Commander Something, Winchester.
Yes. I was trying not to bring down the stream, and I figured Commander did a good enough job of announcing it, but Commander got COVID, apparently. Apparently, he's not doing too bad with it, though, and he will keep us updated on his condition.
Yummy, yummy pancakes.
Yes. Pancake!
Oh god. Don't you start, please.
Pancake.
I have fucking... Okay.
What?
Okay.
Did I miss something?
So, yes. Me and Nova, Winchester, are a part of a D&D game, and...
Pancake.
Something... I'm going to smack you.
Not if I smack you back harder!
And then fucking... So, we had a griffin. And I cast Speak with Animals to hear what they were saying. They would not stop saying pancake. The reason why they were saying pancake is that they had a madness cast upon them for a few days where they just saw pancakes everywhere. So for the full 10 minutes I had that spell going, I just heard pancake over and over and over again.
I would have just yelled back waffle.
Mm.
Waffle!
No, that's just
Nope.
we fun. Whereas I recall a game with Toa where we were dealing with Crimson's character who just had a bowl of bar nuts, and it was a never-ending bowl of bar nuts. So every once in a while, just during the game, there would be a peck.
See, and the best part is that this was another player's griffin. My griffin was sitting there with a flick, an uncontrollable flick, and would just flick the nearest person to them. So it worked great because the one would be going pancake, and then mine would just go flick, pancake, flick, pancake, flick.
Yeah, that's why I don't join these guys as RPGs.
This is how you get the fun stories.
Oh, I am worried about what Divinity is going to look like now.
About the reading, man.
Can I just provide a quick update? Because over here in Australia, it is actually the next day, which is Thursday, and that is April the 1st.
That's nice. It's not April the 1st here, so we're not doing anything for April Fools on stream.
Well, it's okay, because what I did this morning is when I got up, I removed all the light bulbs out of the light sockets, and my mum, she couldn't be more delighted.
And on that bombshell, Razzle, take us away.
God, do I even want to? Okay.
Your blood pressure will rise around him. It's sort of his perk.
So, what the fuck am I supposed to say? Winchester is my first time here.
I already
Don't worry,
explained.
we'll ease you into
Say
this.
say the title of the fic, and then read out the character list, and then just read the title again, and read chapter 1, and then read the day which would go so wrong started as so many days
Okay,
did in
okay.
Ponyville. Simple and pleasant it was.
Okay, I gotcha.
Proceed,
So today,
Steve.
today and for as long as we're going to be doing this, we are reading It's a Dangerous Business Going Out Your Door by Jetfire 2012. Our narrator, and the one playing Rarity, is myself, Razzle. CMC will be playing Apple Bloom and Twilight. Double R will be playing Zakora and Rainbow Dash. Winchester will be Applejack and Spike. And Lycan will be Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy. So, without further ado, let us begin this. The day which would go so wrong started as so many days in Ponyville. Simple and pleasant. It was, in fact, a holiday. Plough Pony's Day. A day set aside since olden times to honor the hard work done by the Earth Ponies that tilled Equestria's endless farmlands. As such, most of Ponyville's businesses were closed, and the great bulk of the population had gathered in the radiant green parkland just beyond the city gates for a mass picnic and celebration. Twilight Sparkle had, of course, enjoyed Plough Pony's Day before. It was a day off from classes at university in Canterlot, but never in the company of such good friends as she had now. She had never, in fact, celebrated the day with the Earth Ponies for which it had been created. It was an entirely different experience from the lazy days off she was used to. She had been roused early by a frantic beating on her door, Pinkie Pie insisting that she come out and help with the preparations for the day of celebration. She had breakfast at a long communal table in the company of her friends and nearly every other I can speak. Every other able-bodied pony in Ponyville. Then had followed a long stretch of physical labors, baking bread, plucking hay, inflating balloons, making kites. Apparently flying them was a Plough Pony's Day tradition. Constructing a stage out in the park, hanging up streamers, even marking out dance grounds for the dance competition. Twilight had assisted them all, having much greater success than her disastrous attempts at helping during winter wrap-up. She had, of course, been helped by all of her wonderful friends, not just Pinkie Pie, but Rarity, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy as well. Now it was the stroke of noon, and the park was ready to receive its multitudes, from old mares to young colts, to giggling fillies and strapping stallions, young ponies, parents and their foals. All the town's ponies had come out to eat good food and frolic in the warm spring sun. Twilight and her friends were nestled under the shade of an old oak tree that towered above them, its branches letting in dapples of golden sunlight amid a haze of wild green. They were lazily munching their way through a simple lunch of bread, hay, and apples. Pinkie Pie had started on dessert early. Grilled sugarcane surged and splashed through her mouth as she chewed. Fluttershy, laying in the grass by the tree trunk, was trying to convince her small rabbit angel to eat some hay to little avail. Rainbow Dash was perched in the branches of the tree, gazing down at her friends with one eye, while the other surveyed the sky for any sign of troubling weather. Applejack sat near the bushel of apples she had bought, watching with some amusement as the two remaining friends were engaged in an attempt at education.
Rarity, you can do it. I know you can. Stop being a fear filly and give it a try.
Twilight Sparkle's deep purple eyes shone with excitement. Rarity pawed the ground with a front hoof and flinched away. Now, darling, I appreciate you trying to help me. I do. But I'm just not cut out for it. I'm no sorceress.
Rarity, I keep telling you, teleporting isn't something you need special talent and magic for. Okay, my talent makes it easier for me, but every unicorn can do it. You just need some practice. Let me help you work on it.
The white unicorn blinked her brilliant blue eyes and betrayed a nervous expression. I've no particular need to teleport, Twilight. There's no place I'm in that large of a hurry to get to. And if I ever am in such a hurry, why, I have you, Twilight. Twilight shook her head amusedly. Her lavender coat was brilliant in the sunlight, and her cutie mark, a pink sparkle surrounded by small white stars, actually shone in the warm white rays.
Rarity, I'm not always going to be around to help you. And doing magic is like doing anything else. The more you practice it, the better you get. Learning to teleport will help all your other magic too.
Well,
Look, you already know telekinesis magic, right? Teleportation works on the same principle. Instead of moving something else, you're moving yourself. And instead of moving through the air, you're moving through space and time. Easy.
Rarity gave Twilight a very despairing look as a cat meowed in the background that I can't control. With another smile, Twilight trotted close to Rarity until she was right in front of her. The lavender unicorn touched her horn to her friends, and suddenly their minds were joined.
Rarity, this is actually very simple, especially for a creative pony like yourself. You've got a good imagination, right?
Rarity was caught off guard. She was uncomfortable when others' ponies poked around her thoughts, even though she had long since learned to trust Twilight with them. Well, I happen to think I do. I have a great reputation, you know. Rarity then found herself looking into Twilight's mind, where a simulacrum of the lavender unicorn was standing in a field. A small area of the field was fenced off with white picket wood.
Teleportation magic relies on your ability to use your imagination. You have to put yourself mentally in a place before you can put yourself there physically. First, a unicorn imagines the place where she wants to go. She forms a picture of it in her mind.
The image of Twilight in the field zoomed in on the fenced-off area.
Then, the unicorn imagines herself in that place.
A flickering ghost of Twilight faded in and out of the fenced-off area. The real fake Twilight's horn began to glow, sending off a brilliant shower of sparks. Suddenly, she vanished in a burst of white light, and with another burst of light, appeared inside the fenced-off area. The real Twilight Sparkle in the real world pulled her horn apart from Rarity's, and each pony was once more alone in her head.
So, like I said, it's all in the mind. That's the hard part. Once you can expertly picture yourself in places, you just need to channel that mental image through your horn, and the spell almost performs itself.
Twilight, darling, as much as you exalt my powers of imagination, and rightly so, I like to think, there's a great deal of difference between imagining how a dress would look on a pony and imagining oneself suddenly appearing in a separate place.
Here.
The lavender unicorn trotted over to the picnic. She plucked a napkin from a stack and walked a few feet away into the field. She set the napkin down and looked back towards Rarity.
Just start with short distances. Teleport from where you are right now to this napkin.
Come on, Rarity, do it! It'll be awesome!
Rarity noticed all her other friends were looking expectantly at her. Even Fluttershy was smiling and nodding. She swallowed hard. Well, I suppose I can give it a whirl.
Just use your horn and picture yourself standing on top of the napkin. Think hard. Really concentrate on standing on top of the napkin. Focus your entire mind on it.
Rarity narrowed her eyes and put the napkin squarely in her sights. She began to focus, thinking of what she would see and where she would be if her hooves were on top of that napkin. Her horn began to glow. Rarity concentrated harder, thinking of nothing else but being on top of that napkin. Spots began to shoot from her horn, and the white light began to pulse in waves down her flank. Zapoom! A small mushroom cloud of white energy rose above the treetops. Rarity lay flat on her belly, her perfectly coiffed purple mane frizzling in every conceivable direction. Her tail was likewise sprung into coils every which way. A small burn circle cut through the grass beneath her.
Well, that was a good first try.
Applejack, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie burst out laughing, Dash cackling so violently that she actually fell out of the tree. She hit the ground in a crash of branches and leaves and rolled over onto her back, clutching her sides as she laughed.
Golly, Rarity, you're not going to be teleporting anywhere but the doctor's office like that.
Rarity got to her hooves. The horn shimmered again, and the saddlebags that she had piled by the trees flipped open. A mirror and a hairbrush floated from its contents, the former stopping in front of Rarity, while the latter began to brush her mane back into its normal curled state. Twilight trotted over to her.
Come on, Rarity. Every unicorn misses their first time. It's nothing to get discouraged. If you just keep trying, I'm sure you'll get it.
I have got about as much. I have got as but. Let me try that again. I have got about as much as I'm willing to tolerate, thank you very much. You university unicorns may be able to master teleportation, but I've got no need for it. It just seems too dangerous.
Yeah, think of all the nasty accidents you could have if you teleported wrong. You could teleport different body parts in different directions.
Rarity's eyes bulged.
Pinky, that's not...
You could teleport yourself right into a wall.
That doesn't...
You could teleport right where some pony else is walking.
There are safeguards to these things.
You could even teleport way up into the sky and come crashing down.
Pinkie Pie!
Pinkie blinked at her, then gave her a massive grin, sighing. Twilight turned back. The unicorn was staring into space, eyes wide and unblinking.
Rarity, the Equestrian Ministry of Transport puts a blanket teleportation assistance spell over all of Equestria. It prevents accidents. They're extremely rare.
Rarity slowly turned her eyes to Twilight, but not impossible. Twilight smiled through her teeth.
Well...
Well,
I mean, it's not unheard of.
aha, that does it. No more teleporting. Rarity threw her mane back over her shoulder, stuck her snout into the air, and walked purposefully back towards the tree. Sighing, Twilight trotted back to her friends and laid down in the grass.
Pinky, why did you have to scare her like that?
I don't know. I just figured I'd be honest. And you have to admit, there are all sorts of crazy things that could happen to some pony trying to teleport. It sounds fun. I wish I could try.
Well, I think Rarity's wise to want her keeps her hooves on the ground, so to speak.
Applejack plucked another apple from the basket with her mouth and took a careful bite of it.
Twilight, you're a big city type, so make get a lot of use out of teleporting every which place. But here in Ponyville, we like to take our sweet, sweet time getting places. As my Aunt Cider used to say, ain't the destination that's important, it's the journey.
Rainbow.
Wow, that's so true. Especially around here in Ponyville. There's only so many times you can see something new in this town. But getting places, there's a new adventure every time you take off.
See? Rainbow's got the right idea. At least I think she does.
Twilight narrowed her eyes.
Teleportation is a useful enough skill that I think every unicorn should learn it. Continue. Teleportation is a useful enough skill that I think every unicorn should learn it. Rarity just needs some practice is all. Every unicorn does it first. She'll get the hang of it in no time.
Twilight didn't mention that most unicorns started learning to teleport when they were a few years younger than Rarity's current age. Given the white unicorn's painstaking attention to detail, Twilight felt she could pick up the nuances of teleporting without much trouble. If only she had some help.
Oh, I remember.
She rose to her hooves and galloped off.
Hey, silly, where are you going?
I just need to get something from the library. I'll be right back.
Be sure to get back in time for the line dancing.
She couldn't be sure if Twilight had heard her or not.
That filly can get so excitable sometimes.
Like you said, she grew up in the big city, where there's always something happening.
The sky blue Pegasus rode over onto her belly, propping her head up in one hoof.
Must be nice sometimes.
Well, I'd never want to be any place but right here in Ponyville. I'm not the adventurous type.
At the tree trunk of the old oak, Rarity had just finished brushing her restored hair. Fortunately, she always took very good care of it, and it sprang easily back into shape. Fluttershy watched her work, her own long pink mane pulling on the grass around her.
Rarity, Twilight just wants to help you.
Oh, darling, I know that. Rarity kept her eyes on the mirror as she brushed the ends of her tail. But Twilight has got to understand that not every unicorn is as ambitious as she is. Not in the way she is, anyway. I've got no grand designs to be a great sorceress like that wretched Trixie. I want to make my mark designing the creme de la creme of the equestrian fashion. I do one thing. Rarity brushed the last of her tail with a flourish, then sent her mirror and brush spiraling around each other in an artful spin, and I do it well. The two tools spun themselves back into her saddlebags, which was closed with further Meanwhile, Twilight had reached the great widow pocket tree that was Ponyville's library, her home for the duration of her extended stay in the lovely town. Pushing the door open with her head, she trotted through the ground floor to a door cut between two enormous bookshelves. Twisting it open with magic, she walked inside and nudged the fireflies in the little lamp to waking. As soft yellow light filled the small room, she began to scan the numerous boxes piled from the wooden floor up to the gnarled tree trunk ceiling. These were a few of the belongings and supplies she had brought with her from Canterlot when she had decided to stay in Ponyville, and she had yet to unpack them. Among them, she knew, was a box of magical supplies from her younger days at the great university. All she had to do was find it. She used her magic to levitate the boxes one by one, passing them in front of her eyes to examine what had been written on the side.
Not this one. Not this one. Aha!
Twilight found the box she sought. The medium-sized cardboard box floated out of the closet. The others returned to their sacked place. Twilight closed the closet door and then pried open the box, rummaging through it with her hooves and looking for what she knew was in there somewhere.
Ah, here it is.
Just what she was looking for, right in the same cyan-colored tube.
Blue.
Mystical lubrication designed to increase the slickness of unicorns as they teleported through space and time. It was an excellent aid for new teleporters, taking some of the strain off of their magical powers and allowing them to spend more energy focusing on destination control. She unscrewed the cap with her magic, then raised the tube to her nose and took a sniff. It was still good. She kept it tightly sealed, and it hadn't separated out at all. That was quite fortunate. Teleportation lubricant had incredibly potent magic woven into it, and when the stuff expired, it could be quite dangerous. She made sure to screw the cap back on again.
Twilight?
Spike's voice called down from the upper level of the library. The small purple and green dragon waved at her as he came down from the bedroom.
What are you doing here? I thought you were at the festival in the park.
Oh, I am. I was.
She walked out of the closet, closing the door behind her.
I just need to pick up something for Rarity. I'm about to go back.
She gave him an eager look.
Are you sure you don't want to come? It's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be dancing and apple bobbing and even karaoke.
Spike raised an eyebrow at her.
No thanks. Twilight, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
All those reports of the princess, I know. I don't know why she's saddled you with the soil studies. It's not even your job.
Probably because I get the results to her instantly. I don't mind. It means I get to hang out with Big Macintosh. You know how refreshing it is to pal around with another guy after all you...
He stopped, and he grinned.
Not that you girls aren't. I mean, I have a perfectly good time with... Sorry.
No offense taken, Spike. I understand. Go get some rest. I'll be back later this evening.
Roger Wilco.
Spike gave her the thumbs up. He turned on his heel and began to trudge back up the stairs. Twilight was about to head for the door when a thought struck her. Direct demonstration was always the best method of instruction. What better way to show Rarity that teleportation was perfectly safe than to teleport right in front of her? Twilight Sparkle thus began to focus on her destination, the soft, cool grass beneath the oak tree in the park. Her horn began to glow and spark as she readied the teleport spell. She made all the necessary caveats and precautionary measures, a shift spell to automatically move her if there was some other object in her way, or hose spell to keep her body together in the event of an unstable terrain, then grabbed the tube of mystical lubricant in her mouth. Unfortunately, in talking to Spike, Twilight had forgotten to finish screwing the cap on the tube. It hung loosely over the opening, exposed to the air, becoming rapidly charged with Twilight's magical energies. Rainbow Dash's head was craned far back, peering up intently into the heavens. She always kept an eye on the sky when she was bored, trying to find some clouds, some threat of rain, or shade that she could use as an excuse to blast off with her wings at full force. She hated staying still any longer than she had to, except when she was tired. She blew a tuft off her snout, She blew a tuft of her short, rainbow-striped mane out of her face.
Is Twilight coming back yet?
I don't see her.
Pinkie Pie glanced up from her bag of gummy worms. Pinkie Pie's love of junk food hadn't been deterred at all by the Plough Pony's Day tradition of cooking all the food in wood-burning ovens on site. She had just had to fill her saddlebags with processed treats from her home at Sugar Cube Corner. She had a batch of cupcakes ready to go after she was finished with these, though she hoped at least one of her friends would ask her for one of them. As much as she loved eating sweets, she loved even more when others ate sweets with her. It doubled the tasty goodness. It was like a little party. The explosion was so powerful, it rattled the bones in every pony's chest. Applejack, Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy were on their feet in moments. Rainbow Dash was in the air, flapping up to see past the crowds, suddenly silent and confused. A tall cloud of shimmering energy was rising over Ponyville, coming from somewhere the center of town.
The library!
Twilight!
Dash blasted through the air, leaving a rainbow trail in her wake. She felt sick in her stomach. She wanted an excuse to fly around, but not this. What if Twilight was hurt? Fluttershy followed behind her. Rarity, Pinkie Pie, and Applejack ran as fast as their legs could carry them.
And really quick here, we are going to take a quick intermission. And with that, we are going to have a nice musical interlude. So please enjoy that.
Dear sister, can I have your advice? Can I ask you once more? Have you ever felt crushed with the guilt that you hold inside despite the love of your friends and the strength that they lend? The feeling so lingering, leaving you spent. I can still recall the way that it felt on my own in isolation, kept away from hurting all that I loved, with the jealousy that I let myself have. And though I'm trying to heal, it's hard to let go of the past that I made so real. 'Cause I've missed you so dearly, and it's been far too long. Can you ever forgive me for what I did wrong? Luna sister, I am so sorry for all the ways I ignored, how unhappy you felt, and the burdens you bore those years ago, still fresh in my mind through the passing of time. But I won't let our past mask the joy of your return. A thousand winters finally come to a close as a spring approaches to erase the frozen wasteland left in the wake. And after all this time, we can finally fly in the cool night sky and frolic running through the fields. We can spend time together like we should have all those years ago. So please don't be sad, Lou, 'cause I'm just glad you're back. I'm just grateful to have you on.
Alrighty, and We have now gotten our pots on the stoves and stuff like that. So, without further ado, we shall start into chapter 2.
Chapter 2. Rainbow Dash, being far and away the fastest of the 5, got there first, and drew back in shock at what she saw. An entire side of the large tree that housed Ponyville's library had been blown out. The thick trunk curled back and charred black by the force of whatever sort of explosion had just occurred. Small bits of book paper were drifting down through the air like little snowflakes, an oddly calming feature amid the signs of so much violence. Fluttershy came flapping up beside Dash, glancing up just in time for a charred piece of parchment to alight on her nose.
Oh, Twilight is going to be so sad to see so many books destroyed.
Twilight? Twilight!
She flew through the hole in the library, coughing at the paper, dust, and smoke. The force of the explosions seemed to have blown every book in the library off its shelf. They covered the floor, lying in heaps and piles. Spinning briefly in a circle, Rainbow Dash bent down onto the pile right beneath her and began digging, hurling books and pieces of books in all directions. Fluttershy, breezing in through the hole, gasped. She was momentarily transfixed in shock by the sight of the destruction.
Come on, help me!
The butter-yellow Pegasus awoke from her trance and began to quickly shift the books beside her sky-blue compatriot. Meanwhile, the 3 landlocked ponies were running through the town square at top speed. Even Pinkie Pie had foregone her usual hopping gait. A blur of yellow and bright red came streaking perpendicular to their advance before pulling aside Applejack, who was leading the way.
Applejack, what happened? What's wrong?
Applebloom panted from the exertion of keeping up with her bigger, longer-legged ponies.
There's been an accident. We think Twilight might have been hurt.
Applejack barely spared a glance down at her younger sister before turning her head back to the front. They were almost at the library, and sure enough, it was smoking and wounded from obvious damage. The 4 ponies skidded to a halt, catching their breaths in the middle of the town square. Rarity stepped forward and lifted her head. This damage all came from magic. I can feel it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, this is terrible. Applejack led the rest of the way through the door and into the chaos of the ruined library. By now, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy had exposed a few spots on the floor, albeit by hurling books in every direction and creating bigger piles around those spots.
I haven't found Twilight yet!
Dash put her hooves to her face.
Oh gosh, what if she's...
Oh my gosh, 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 oh my gosh.
Damn it. Pinkie, cool it. Let's all just calm down and act rational like. We're never going to find Twilight.
If there's anything to find...
We're never going to find Twilight if we all start running around like headless chickens. We need to act methodical like.
If I may, we'll clear the floor much better if we concentrate on moving the books to the edges near the shelves. It would also help to stack them neatly, as opposed to tossing them around on top of each other.
Okay, you heard Rarity. Let's do this neatly, and we'll find Twilight in no time.
Rarity, Pinkie Pie, Applejack, and Applebloom all waded through the books and began to remove them from the middle of the room. Applejack and Applebloom worked together, handing off to each other in a miniature convoy. Pinkie Pie could take several books at a time due to her freakish skill at balancing on her back legs. Rarity cleared dozens of books in a sweep with her magic. Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash continued to sort where they were, now more neatly. Slowly the floor began to appear. A pile of books near Pinkie Pie suddenly stirred. Everyone looked up. Rainbow Dash flew over and began tearing off books, once more not caring where they landed. Suddenly, Spike's head popped up between the tattered volumes. The little dragon burst from the books around him, then rubbed his head.
Ow! What happened?
The ponies tried to hide their disappointment.
Spike, what did you see happen? Did you see what happened to Twilight Sparkle?
Oh, goodness. Are you all right, Spike?
Fluttershy landed next to him and looked him over.
That seems like a nasty bump on your head.
I think I'll be fine. All I remember was turning around to watch Twilight teleport, and then I noticed this huge bloom of light. Something was definitely wrong. I was running down the stairs when BOOM!
He flung his arms apart, pantomiming the explosion he had been caught up in. He then rubbed his head and winced at the growing bruise.
Must have been hit by a dictionary or something.
Suddenly, another pile of books, this one much larger, began to shift. Distinctly feminine groaning came from beneath the jumbled volumes. Every pony rushed over to the source of the noise, their spirits rising brilliantly. Finally, to their great relief, Twilight Sparkle rose to her feet amid the books, trembling a little, but looking no worse for wear at a first glance. The 6 other ponies rushed to her, jostling with each other to be the first to nuzzle her close. Rainbow Dash wrapped her front hooves around her neck.
You're okay. I'm so. I mean, this is.
You gave us quite a scare, Sugar Cube.
Do you feel all right?
Twilight backed away to get some space.
Girls, I'm fine. I'm a little shook up, but I feel okay.
What happened? We saw a huge explosion.
I was trying to teleport back to the park.
Twilight began to shake her hooves out one by one, making sure nothing felt wrong.
Then I felt this huge surge of energy. The lubricant!
Come again?
I came back here to get some teleportation lubricant. I wanted to get it for you, Rarity, to help you with your teleporting practice, I guess. I unscrewed it to smell it to see if it was still good. I guess I forgot to put the top back on all the way before I teleported. Teleportation lubricant is a powerful conductor of magical energy, especially with the specific energy used for jumping through space. I guess my teleporting energy carried through into the tube. There must have been an enormous magical energy charge.
Her eyes widened.
Wow. In hindsight, I'm really lucky to still be in one piece. It sounds scary! Don't worry, I'm alright, Apple Bloom.
All the same, it sounds like a very near thing. Twilight, dearest. You needn't have bothered on my account. I told you, I've got no use for teleporting.
But I wanted to, Rarity. You're my friend, and I wanted to help. But I guess I should have been more careful.
She looked around the library, for the first time taking in the extent of the damage.
Yikes. It's gonna take a lot of work to clean up this mess.
Well, the important thing is that you're all right. We can work when these are done. No sense interrupting our day off. Now come on. We can probably still get back in time for the... Oh my goodness!
What? What's wrong?
Rarity had backed away in shock, her eyes fixed on Twilight's head. Her face was severe. She glanced around the library, her eyes settling on a mirror hanging on the wall. She used her magic to pick it up and float it in front of Twilight. Well, darling, see for yourself. Twilight scrutinized her reflection. Everything looked normal. Her face wasn't cut or bruised. Her eyes weren't bloodshot. Her horn...
Ah!
The tip of her horn was black.
Let me see that.
She used her magic to take control of the mirror herself, motioning it closer to her face.
Ow!
A sharp pain shot up her horn, making her wince away from the others. She cut off her magic, and the mirror dropped to the ground and shattered.
Twilight? What's wrong? I thought you said you were fine. I thought I was, but my horn, it hurts. And the tip of it is black.
The little pony's eyes widened as she stared at the tip of the lavender unicorn's horn.
What's wrong with your horn?
Twilight tried to put on a reassuring expression, but she couldn't keep the fear from creeping over her face.
I don't know.
Apple Bloom turned tail and ran out the door.
Apple Bloom!
Applejack called after her, running to the door and yelling through the square.
Apple Bloom! Get back here!
She's probably just scared.
Well, shouldn't she be? You have no idea what's wrong with your horn, Twilight.
Twilight shook her head.
No, I've never seen anything like this before.
She wasn't being quite honest. She had a small idea of what could be wrong with her horn. But she saw no reason to alarm any of her friends just yet, or to start panicking herself. It could just be a bruise, even though horns were hard and didn't bruise.
But I'll bet it's in one of these books around here. If we could just clean the library up, organize all the books, and sort out the ones about illnesses and diseases, I'm sure we could find at least one book that will tell us what we need to know.
She swung her head back around to the mess spreading before her.
Now, you've already started piling the books around the edges, but we have to go through and pick out all the medical and magical books and separate them out. We have to put the rest of the books together. Ow!
She winced. She began to lift some of the books off the floor with her magic, but another sharp pain in her horn caused her to break off the spell and drop them again. Darling, don't strain yourself. Whatever happened to you is clearly being made worse when you're using your magic. You just sit back and take it easy. We'll handle the cleanup.
I agree with Rarity. No need to make whatever's wrong with you worse.
Well, okay.
Right then, let's organize ourselves. Applejack, you go to the left, and Pinkie Pie, you go with her. The two of you can work together. Rainbow Dash, you and Fluttershy go straight ahead. The two of you will also work together. I'll move to the right. My magic can do the work of two ponies. Now, chop chop, let's hurry. She clapped her hooves together, turning back to Twilight, a sympathetic look upon her face. Twilight, don't you worry your head about any of this. We'll clean up this mess and find out what's wrong with you in a jiffy.
Can I help you, Rarity?
Well, of course you can, Spike. The white unicorn trotted through the books to her selected station. Come over here and help me sort through the books as I levitate them. I'll bet you know this library almost as well as Twilight.
Sort of?
With a smile, Rarity's horn lit up, and more than a dozen books floated into the air. In truth, the white unicorn's insides were roiling in a storm of guilt. Twilight appeared to have been seriously hurt, and she'd been hurt by trying to help Rarity. I told her I didn't need her help, Rarity thought, only half listening as Spike attempted to pick out the medical books from those she had levitated. Oh, Twilight Sparkle, why did you have to be so generous? Generosity is my job. And why couldn't I have just learned to teleport in the first time? This catastrophe could have been avoided. A burst of disgusted energy. Disgusted? Yeah. A burst of disgusted energy surged through her horn, charging the books she was levitating and sending them scattering in all directions. Spikes had to dodge a few that were shot his way. The ponies glanced up towards her. Rarity gave them a smile. Sorry, just, wasn't paying attention. Carry on. She looked away from them and returned to sorting the books, a heavily oily feeling in the pit of her heart.
Rarity?
Twilight's voice was right behind her. This time, Rarity finished setting the books down in their neat piles before turning round. Is something wrong, darling? Are you feeling any worse? Twilight looked gently at her.
Rarity, it's not your fault.
Oh, Twilight, don't worry. I wasn't thinking anything of that sort.
Please, Rarity. I was the one who wasn't careful. Don't blame yourself.
Twilight Sparkle, I said to sit tight and relax. I do not see you sitting tight, and I certainly do not see you relaxing. Go get a pillow and some root beer if you must. You're going to strain yourself. Rarity shooed her away with her hoof. Twilight laughed and finally retreated. Rarity allowed herself to feel a little better, little better, then returned to her work. They had mostly cleared the library for over the span of 20 minutes. All the medical books and magical books had been piled into the center. The other books were stacked along the edge of the floor, below the empty bookshelves. Twilight was impressed at the work they had been able to do. Under Rarity's gentle direction, her 5 friends had sorted everything on the library floor into a neat order. They had even made a pile for the damaged or destroyed books near the foot of the stairs. Twilight's heart was heavy at the sight. Books being damaged always pained her. But she had more pressing matters to attend to. She walked over to the stacks in the middle.
Great work, girls. Now we just need to start consulting these books. Now here we...
Suddenly, the door to the library burst open. Apple Bloom ran in, then stopped, then looked back over her shoulder.
In here, come on!
The little filly cast excited eyes on Twilight.
Don't worry, Twilight, I brought help.
She looked over her shoulder again.
Come on, Zecora, she's in here. Zecora?
As if on cue, Zecora the zebra crossed the threshold of the library. She was wearing her traveling cloak, as she usually did during her journeys to Ponyville, from her home in the Everfree Forest. The hood was thrown back, though, making her black and white striped neck and head clearly visible. Along with a black and white mane that she kept cut in a high mohawk, rings of gold surrounded her neck, and a large gold earring dangled from her ears.
I have been quite patient. Now let me see the patient.
She strode softly up to Twilight Sparkle and began to examine her carefully. Twilight could feel her piercing turquoise eyes staring at her, staring through her, looking deep into her. She suppressed a shiver. Though they had all learned Zecora wasn't evil, she could still be a bit unsettling, especially at close quarters.
Hey, you can't rhyme patient with patience.
Nobody really paid attention to her. Zecora's gaze at last settled on Twilight's horn, which she scrutinized at very close quarters, bringing her left eye within an inch of the blunt, blackened tip. She gently raised a hoof and tapped at the tip of the horn. Twilight flinched at the shot of pain. It was like a sore, several days old. Finally, Zecora drew back. She had a sad look on her face.
My guess was correct, so bemoan your lot. Twilight Sparkle, you've got a bad case of horn rot.
Twilight drew in a breath sharply.
I was afraid of that.
Rarity's eyes widened. Oh my goodness gracious. What are we going to do? Not that! Not that! She was so overcome by shock that she briefly fell to the ground in a faint. Though she was on her hooves again in a moment, she hastened to Twilight Sparkle's side and nuzzled her in the cheek. Twilight, darling, I'm sure we can find a cure.
Okay, hold up a second. What is horn rot? Is that some kind of unicorn thing?
Very much so.
It's a disease that only unicorns are susceptible to.
Twilight walked over to the pile of medical and magical books in the center of the library.
Now that I know what I'm looking for, I should be able to find the book.
She started to use magic, but she stopped before she caused herself any more pain. Sitting back, she used her hooves to nudge books off their stacks until she found a suitable volume. It was a thick book, bound in dark blue leather, titled Pony Problems A to Z. Placing it on the ground, she nudged it open with her left hoof and began flipping through the pages, coming to the first third of the book. Then finding the H section. Several dozens of pages flipping brought her to the entry she sought.
Rarity, could you please levitate this so every pony can see it?
With a nod, Rarity's horn shimmered, causing the dark blue book to float into the air. The other ponies clustered around it, nudging against each other to try and get a closer view.
Hey, I can't see back here. Some pony read it aloud, will ya?
Oh, I'll do it, let me do it.
But I wanted to do it!
Yeah, but I said it first.
Well, I'm younger, so I should go first.
Nah, oldest always goes first.
Look, Pinky, just read it.
There was an edge to Twilight's voice that brooked no argument. Pinkie Pie nodded.
Hornrot, also known as unicorn's blight, is an affliction that befalls unicorns, either through exposure to strange magics or through the improper application of their own magical power. It occurs specifically when the magical circuit that runs down the unicorn spine is overwhelmed with an influx of etheric energy of such intensity that the cells through which the circuit runs begin to burst and die. This deadening begins and is most concentrated in the unicorn's horn, which is the focal point of the magical circuit. For cures, see Potions, section 27C.
Pinkie Pie blinked a few times, then turned to Twilight.
Okay, so what does that mean?
It means my horn absorbed an enormous amount of magical energy. More than it could cope with.
The unicorn nudged the floating book aside and turned to face all of her friends.
When the teleportation lubricant was exposed to the energy of my teleporting spell, it caused that energy to be extremely amplified. When unicorns use magic, they also open their magical circuits to an influx of magic from their environment. It's part of the give and take of magic. In this case, my magical circuit absorbed all the excess energy from the overpowered teleporting spell, and it was too much for my body to handle. The cells in my horn were overwhelmed, and now they're starting to die.
Die? But you look fine. How can just one part of you die?
It's like what happens to hooves and noses when they get frostbite.
This last example seemed to clarify things immensely, as the whole group put on new expressions of concern.
So your horn's dying? That's awful. What are you going to do about it? Not to worry, Apple Bloom. There's a potion that cures horn rot without fail. The recipe should be in another one of my books, and the ingredients aren't too terribly hard to find. We just need to let it brew for 3 weeks. 3 weeks! Wait. That's...
Winchester.
3 weeks?
It's got a lot of magic in it. It needs all that time to draw in enough energy. But if I just take it easy until then...
Sakura shook her head.
Of your endurance ability, I wouldn't boast. This horn rot is strong. You've got 2 weeks, 2.5 at most.
Are you sure? What makes you say that?
Sakura merely nodded. Rarity fainted again.
So, what happens after 2 weeks?
She was afraid of the answer. Twilight bowed her head.
Best case scenario, my horn falls off and I won't be able to do magic anymore.
Fluttershy gasped, and Rainbow Dash swallowed hard.
And the worst case scenario?
Twilight averted her gaze. In fact, she turned her whole body, refusing to look at them. She was fighting hard to keep from showing her own fear. Fluttershy squeaked and closed her eyes tightly.
No. No!
Dash landed and stomped her hoof against the ground.
I don't believe there's no faster cure. There's gotta be. There has to be.
Yeah, there's gotta be something we can do. Twilight can't. She just can't.
The little yodel pony was on the verge of tears. Applejack to her sister and leaned into her.
There is, in fact, a faster track.
Ooh, what is it?
The zebra didn't answer immediately. She broke away from the assembled ponies and began to wander the edges of the library, peering through the stacks of books piled beside her. She stopped at one stack and reached into it, plucking out a green book with her teeth and flinging it through the air. It skidded to a stop on the floor next to the ponies. Twilight saw it, and it was the same book, Supernaturals, that had held the cure for the poison joke that afflicted them in their first meeting with Sakura.
If you want a fast cure, there's just one to get. You must eat the flower of the Beneviolet.
She nudged the book open onto a page dominated by the illusion of a flowering plant. It had a thin stem and long, narrow leaves. At the top of the stem was a single flower with 5 broad petals, arranged in a star shape. The flower petals were medium purple. The scrap of soil drawn beneath the leaves seemed to be rocky.
I want to read this time.
Applebloom wiped away the tears that had started to form in her large orange eyes and nudged her way over to the book. Rarity again levitated the book into the air so that everyone could have a better view of it.
The Beneviolet is a small flowering plant that grows in the high mountain valleys of the Arkback Mountains. It belongs to the very small family of magivascular plants, or plants whose special roots allow them to absorb magical energy as well as water from the surrounding environment. The Arkback Mountains, that are the Beneviolet's only habitat, run along what is thought to be a strong ley line, infusing the soil with enormous magical power, which plants absorb. This energy is collected in their 5-pointed flowers, where it mixes with the plant's chemical defenses against parasites. These two factors combine to make the Beneviolet a powerful healing plant, able to cure many illnesses, especially those of a degenerative magical nature.
Applebloom finished the entry in a much higher spirits than she had begun it. She turned to Sakura.
So if Twilight eats this flower, it'll cure her horn rot?
A Beneviolet is powerful stuff. Just one flower, one time will be enough.
Hooray! Now we just gotta go get it!
Rainbow Dash's face grew doubtful.
That might be a problem.
What problem? It seems open and shut, just like a book.
Well, do any of you ponies know where the Archback Mountains are?
Do you?
They're not far away, are they?
Dash flapped her wings and was airborne again, gliding to the door of the library.
Come with me.
They followed her back through Ponyville, through a small crowd that had gathered around the damaged library. Stares and whispers ran through the assembled ponies as the 6 fillies came out. The gossip intensified when the onlookers saw Sakura. Twilight Sparkle and her friends were able to pass through them without much shoving. but they picked up a small entourage that followed them to the outskirts of the town. They soon saw where Dash was leading them. At the north entrance to Ponyville, moored by a small raised platform, was the town balloon. It was decorated with banners and streamers in anticipation of the participation of the night's fireworks display. For now, however, it was empty, and Rainbow Dash ushered her friends towards it.
We're going up. Come on.
Fluttershy, could you fly up on your own with Dash? That way there will be enough room for Zakora and Applebloom.
Okay.
The non-flying ponies climbed into the balloon's basket, shut the door, and started the burner. Untying the tether, they rose slowly into the air, flanked on either side by Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash. They followed Dash's lead, going as high as she was going, until they were far above Ponyville, chilled by the cold air of the upper altitude. Ponyville was a brilliant patchwork of houses beneath them. To the southwest, they could see the rolling fields and neatly arranged apple trees of the Apple family's farm. Dead west was the dense green curtain of the Everfree forest, drawn like a blanket over the surrounding terrain. The forest stretched for miles and miles until it ran against the base of the long range of mountains, spiking higher and higher into the sky as they stretched away to the north and the south.
Okay, we're high enough. You'll be able to see them from here.
So wait, are those the Archback Mountains?
She pointed a hoof at the mountain range standing in front of them.
Shucks, Rainbow. That'll be an easy trip. I don't know why you...
No, those are the Drakenridge Mountains.
She pointed her hoof in front of her, angled upward.
Those are the Archback Mountains.
The ponies assembled in the balloon tried to follow her hoof. She was pointing slightly up, past the mountains that took so much of their view. Twilight increased the heat of the burner, causing the balloon to go slightly higher. They rose up, and there, past the Drakenrich Mountains, they could see them. Barely see them. There were a ragged haze far in the distance, a purple shadow at the farthest range of sight. A long line of mountains stretched almost parallel to the Drakenridge Mountains. Those are the Archback Mountains.
Yep.
That's outside Equestria's border.
Yep.
And that is the end. of
Dun
Chapter
dun
2.
dun.
And so the stage is
Finn.
set.
Yes.
I'm glad I scrolled the page too far so that I knew to sit up and be ready for that long apple bloom read because my higher range is out of practice.
I was totally just planning on just having Apple Bloom say that line, and then I was just going to go like, somebody said it. That's the important part. I was just
When
expecting
I caught
somebody
it, I pulled my head away and probably whispered that's an Applejack line. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that came through.
I heard something at some point. I was just like, why does nobody read? Because I read it as Apple Bloom, and I was just like, huh. But also, I must say I'm proud of myself. I figured out how to use OBS so that I can capture the sound from Chrome on my computer, but I can capture the sound of Discord in a different deal, so I can still like communicate over Discord and have like background music playing in the background over stream. It is very handy.
Fun.
So yes.
Yay.
It's weird ending at this time because normally we're like just barely we used to just barely be getting started now. Like I'm almost tempted to possibly, if readings are ending this early now, and since part of the reason why Skyrays isn't joining in for the readings as much is due to is due to like getting off work early enough, possibly we could have him do some game streams after we get done reading.
And I have the perfect game.
Is it
No, I
Valheim?
can't join because I have to try to
Nope.
get bed
Oh.
early.
Game called Pummel Party.
Oh, okay.
Is it Duck Game?
What?
Well,
No.
this is literally an idea I'm just coming up with spur of the moment. So,
Eh,
but yes,
Winchester Wednesday's after party.
yes,
I can't
Skyray's
join
Winchester
that.
Wednesday Skyray's after party.
Like I said, I can't join that because I can't afford to stay up too late.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason why we're doing it this way is because for people like you or
Sora.
Sora eventually if we get her in, or any other people that can't join in late, like Lycan normally ducks out relatively soon after we're done. They can all go about their daily whatevers, and Skyrays and me, if I'm still alive, I've got Wednesdays are the day that I have to wake up early, and starting this I don't get my after work nap. So
Hey, I gotta get up early 5 days a week. 5
Yeah.
o'clock.
I purposely don't do that because I don't like waking up early 5 days a week, and so I just decided, I'm gonna find a way to make money without having to wake up early, and I did.
Well, unfortunately, I have to take what I could get, and I have to wait a little longer.
Yeah. So, but anyways, we might do that. I don't know if Skyrace has anything like ready to fire up like right now, but we can see about that.
There's multiple things I can fire up right now if I want to play alone. If not, like I said, Pummel Party is a good option. It's a very easy game to install, and since it's pretty cheap, I can offer to buy 3 people the game if you don't already have it.
Well, that might be something to consider. Yeah. But I think as usual, we'll probably end it off here. There might be a little intermission. I'm pretty dead for the night, plus I haven't eaten yet, so I need to get food and stuff. So I'm probably going to be out for at least a little while. So yeah, Sky, if you want to get started planning on that, I'm going to wrap up stream here. So I hope that everybody had fun, and we're going to move to shoutouts. So we shall start with our newcomer, Razzle.
Hi.
Okay, maybe we should start with somebody else that actually knows how to do shoutouts. We'll start with Lycan.
Oh, great. It is perfectly on midday. Oh, so I can actually do this. It's high noon.
You're more of a Junkrat kind of guy, not a McCree kind of guy.
I really am. I do have a blast at those things.
I'm more of a McCree type of guy.
Oh god, that terrible game.
Actually, no, Winchester's.
No,
And on that
Winchester
note,
can do it.
thanks everyone for tuning in. Shout out to the Estate of Sugar album, which was just released last weekend, and we had an absolute blast on Ponytown. It was lots of fun. There was over like 1,000 people there, and it was beautiful.
Alrighty. And next, on to the guy who didn't say much during the stream, Skyrace.
Shout outs to Razzle for joining us in reading, and good job with the reading. Obviously, we're going to do some more work, but for the first time, it was not bad. Shout outs to Lycan, who's already gone, for joining us as well. And I'd also like to give shout outs for Sora, because it sounds like she might become a permanent addition to the team as well. This earlier time has really made a big difference for us, which I'm really happy about. It doesn't work for me, but since I don't really do the readings, I'm fine with it.
And plus, with this new edition, it may work out even better.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. And Razzle, we'll come back around to you, so because maybe by now you actually have an idea of what shoutouts are.
Sure.
It's not that difficult.
Shout outs to Winchester for inviting.
You know what? Yeah, sure, that works. Shoutouts to Winchester for inviting me and allowing me to be a part of this.
Shoutouts to Daz, because I saw Daz was watching as well.
Yeah, but Daz isn't here.
You hear that, Daz? Change your work schedule so you can join us.
Yeah, then you can be a part of this.
Yes. Tell your boss to go change things. Alrighty. And shout outs for Double R.
Shout outs to Winchester Wednesdays for finally returning after such a long hiatus. And shout outs to the combined power of COVID stimulus and tax returns that I can now finally afford a Nintendo Switch. That's also something I'm doing when I'm not editing these fics.
Alrighty. And CMC.
Fires, explosions, Mufasa, venison jerky, LOE, Roan. I don't know. It's weird. We're ending early. I'm confused.
It's wonderful.
I'm confused.
Just give it a few days. It'll wear off.
Yeah.
No, I'll just add to the confusion.
Alrighty. So, yes. Thank you all for showing up. My shout outs go out to all of you lovely viewers who actually joined in. I think I see 9 viewers. I think that's breaking the record for what we used to have.
We hit 21. We hit 21.
We hit 21. Very nice. I am so glad.
I'm telling you this.
I'm so glad. I am hoping you all stick around. Next week we will be getting into Divinity, so that will be a fun time, a very fun time.
And I plan trying to role play it a little bit because I'm trying to treat it like D&D. It might piss off a couple of you guys, but whatever.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. We're all kind of trying to play this like D&D in a way. So.
We've all got our own weird ideas. It's gonna be fun.
Yes.
I've been in the Apple Bloom voice a bit too much. I'm getting the drawl going.
I mean, yeah, I could slip down into mine. That's about the only accent that I can slip into very well without somebody else speaking some other accent that I just kind of copy off of.
Well,
For a moment, you were trying to make Applejack sound more hillbilly than country.
Hey, fuck off, you stupid bastard!
It slipped weird because my upper range is out of practice, so I haven't figured out how to get the drawl going in the upper range nicely.
I think I was still a little too high for Zakora, though.
Actually, it wasn't bad. I will say I like your Zakora a little bit better than your Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, I can't pull off that natural rasp.
So, but oh well. We've all got things to pick up on. My Applejack was, good God, my Applejack was bad. I did like my Spike though. I thought my Spike was okay after I got him kind of narrowed down. But
your Spike was better than your Applejack.
Yeah, which is strange. But I mean, I do a better Big Mac. But anyways,
you would have do a cowboy tone, but I guess
yeah.
not.
But anyways, thank you all for showing up. Really enjoyed our time here. It's good to be back. Fuck. And as usual, I completely boned on getting a outro song lined up. I was really good at getting a random song in the middle of stream picked. Thanks, Lycan, for needing to put stuff on the stove.
Hey, Skyrim, I could sing Justin Bieber as an outro. We were talking about that.
Okay, and we are muting the call because we are not doing any of that crap. Or even listening to that. What should we do here? Damn it. There's some good Johnny Cash on here, but shouldn't do that. Because that would end badly. I don't know. Y'all like Prince Whatever? We already played him once, but we'll just play him again. Because Prince Whatever is awesome. Wait, no. We got a better one. I know that I recently played this, but I just love this song so much that I just can't not play it. So, anyways, have one of my favorite songs.
I know that something isn't right,
instead. She's always liked to play pretend, but she should be up. It's almost 10, and if not, what then? Who knows when the sun will rise again? Seems we've got too much time to spend. Feels like this night will never end. I guess it just depends. Who knows when the sun will rise again? The world should sleep today. Think I deserve a break. You'll see this way it's better. We'll all just nap together. The night will last forever. That's not funny. Who knows when the sun will rise again? Seems we've got too much time to spend. Feels like this night will never end. I guess it just depends. Who knows when the sun will rise again? Who knows when the sun will rise again? The sun will rise again. Seems we've got too much time to spend. Too much time to spend. Feels like this night will never end. I guess it just depends. Who knows when the sun will rise again? Who cares if the sun will rise again?
What meanest thou? Every pony cares, do they not?
Oh, so be it. They can't let a princess sleep in just once, it seems.
Sleep in! 'Tis 10:30. We are quite certain that thou hast already done a fine job of sleeping in.
Yes, I suppose. Well, up with the sun then.
Really, sister?
What?
It is thy calling.
I should get a break, shouldn't I? I mean, I could have you raise the sun for a while to make up for lost time, right?
What? How canst thou say such a thing?
Fine, fine. Perhaps I am acting a bit childish this morning. At least it's still morning, you know.
Thou art too old for this.
Who knows when the sun will rise again? Seems we've got too much time to spend. Feels like this night will never end. I guess it just depends. Who knows when the sun will rise again? Who knows when the sun will rise again?
Thank you all for showing up. It's been fun. And for the first time in a while, this is Winchester 572 going 10-7. We're back. Bye-bye.